Alright, let's go ahead and give this a go. I've been messing with the camera setup for 15 minutes trying to get my planner in frame. So we'll just go with the flow and hope that it works out. This is Carrie Lynn with Sparkle Frogs. I run a couple of different groups on Facebook, the Franklin Covey Addicts and Sparkle Frogs Planning. For this video, I will be showing my one book July setup. I decided to go ahead and participate this year. I'm going to be participating in all three areas. The one book, one pen is a little bit modified. I'm using several pens. I've been planning for several years, and I do use color coding, so I'm not going to give that up. My one book is a somewhat of a traveler's notebook setup. I have a Hobonichi Spring Cousin A5 size in here, and then I got a couple of supplemental books, one for lists and one for projects, and then I've just got one book that's just dedicated to scribbles, notes, things like that, if I need an overflow. The cover that I'm using is a it's a LIHIT Lab. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. It's an A5 cover. I went ahead and punched holes in it so that I could add strings to it, so that I could fit a little bit more. I really like it because it's got an outside pocket up here, and then it has this pocket here which opens up with Velcro. I keep pens in it, and then I keep my most regularly used pens right here. Now in this pocket, I go ahead and I put in a zipper pouch so that I can take that completely out, so that it will lay a little bit flatter when I'm doing my actual planning. It opens up with a band from the back, which I really like because then there's no strings to get in the way. And opens up, there's pockets in here. I just keep a couple of little things in there, 2 credit card size pockets in here. This is completely open so that you could slide your book into it if you wanted to. I've just got my cousin slid into the other side, and it's open all the way through, so you wouldn't want to put any papers in there necessarily. They'd fall out. My dashboard is not really a dashboard. Like I said, I come from a Franklin Covey background, so I just used the zipper pouch, a divider that's got pockets in it, and the back side of it is over here. It is a photo holder, and I just washi taped over the holes and then used regular Scotch tape to tape these all together. In here I just have photos of family. I've got my inside of the zipper pouch, I've got my little booklet that always goes with me. It's got various websites and logins and whatnot. Then over here on this side is where I keep receipts that need to be processed, and this side is where I keep anything that needs to go out. The little tab up at the top, I can turn right to it when I open it up. It's, you know, I've got something I need to mail, and then this is my about me. I've got allergy information and reward if found. Now this is a not a true A5 size. I am just using it for any scribbles, notes, you know, stuff that I don't necessarily need to keep. Pictures of my family, and then if I'm not mistaken, I think I've got another reward card in here, so I'm going to kind of flip that over so you don't see it. This book here are my 2 major projects, and in the interest of using up things that I have, I just stuck all kinds of motivational stickers over the front of this book. I don't even remember where this book came from. It was just one I had laying around, so again, in the interest of using up what I have, I decided to go with it. My 2 major projects are self-care. I'm starting a weight loss regimen going low carb, and the other one is about home. I'm still working on decluttering my home, so both of those have their own dedicated sections. All I'm doing in the self one is just tracking my weight, tracking my exercise, and then loosely keeping track of what I'm eating. The home section, nothing has been put in here yet, but it will be a plan of action for decluttering various rooms in my house. This book would be what you would call in the bullet style world my book of lists. I call it a reference book because it houses all of my lists plus more. I have post-its and whatnot in case I need to use it. Then I do an index to topics. Instead of being driven by page numbers, it's driven alphabetically, so I can just go in and look, and then look by the topic, and then go look it up by the page number. Then I have what's set up for me to do a vision board. It'll just be various images and pictures. The next section I have yet to write is my values, roles, and mission statement. That's pulling from the Franklin Covey principle. I do already have this written down. I just need to transfer it over in here. Then I've got a goals section, my bucket list, books to read, movies and shows, websites, projects. This will be for current and future projects, just a list. Need it, want it, all those things that you or all those things that I would like to get someday, but who knows when. Master task list. This will just be everything that I want to accomplish at some point. That's a task versus a project, and I will tip in pages if I need more room. Family fun. This is for various ideas, places to go, you know, from parks to going and seeing a baseball game. It'll just be a list. And all of this information is written in various other books. I have a tendency to change planner, not systems, because I already have my system in place. I've been planning for almost 30 years. So I have a tendency to change vessels and sizes. I realize that about myself, and I just decided to go with the flow, but I do need to get this information written down. This is, the next section is my food section. So on the front page of the food section is where I do my actual meal planning. I inventory what I have, and then I decide what meals we want to have. I pull from these are some of the favorites. They're just on little post-it notes. And then I will go ahead and put those on here as I make out the grocery list. Then once I have the grocery list done, I move those meals onto my weekly section in my Hobonichi. Once we have had that meal, I just remove the little post-it flag and I put it in this section, so that way I can tell what we've had to eat each week as I meal plan, so that I'm not duplicating my efforts. And each color is a different type. I've got beef, chicken, breakfast, pasta, etc. My next section is my faith section, or excuse me, my next section is my 101 random info, and this is where I will jot down various little things. Like, for instance, I just learned how to do a screenshot with my phone the other day, so I'll jot down the information on how to do that. And then after that is faith. They are tabbed because they are sections that I regularly turn to. This is my church calendar. And I've got some notes about church. And then I've got some various prayer examples, prayers for kids, example of how to pray. These are just little post-its, and I put prayer requests on there. Write down the date, the person, what it is, and then as they get answered, I'll make little notes about it. And using the post-its allows me to remove them and save them elsewhere. So these would just be current requests. And then this is my current Bible study that I'm doing. Next section is my family section. Now what I do is these are just tipped in, so no matter what book I'm using, I can just move these into here. Like I said, I change books a lot. This particular sheet is for me. It has, you know, basic information like phone number, current medications, things like that. But underneath of this, I've got some self-care ideas to how to, because that's one thing I forget to do is take care of myself. This one's the husband. Then I've got the kids. And I have one for our dog also. The next section is my contacts. Again, you can see that these are hole punch tipped in pages. This is part of my one book July. My planning is I do want to rewrite all of these actually into this book so I can reduce some of the bulk. My next section is finances. And what I do on here is each paycheck, I write down what I've got coming out of that check. Over here is just like a check register, so it's just a running balance. Then there's some more, these are just the same with the running balance. These are just tipped in Post-its. And then I've got a monthly bills list. This is my grocery shopping list, easy to turn to. These are on Post-its, so I can take it off when I go to the grocery store. And then we get into the actual nuts and bolts of the planning, which is the Hobonichi cousin. Now, I just got this, so technically I'm just starting this in July. And this is backdated to April, which is actually a good thing because I had some major things going on in April that I didn't really get a chance to journal about. So I will use those back pages to go back and journal. So in here, the way that I am using my, most of you have seen this. This is just a yearly overview for the current and past and future years. And then this is a monthly overview, and I use this for financial. Up at the top, I write any major events that are going to require extra money. Independence Day, we've got camping, local fair, school starting. And then I highlight in yellow each payday. And then each day a bill is due. Almost all of my bills are automatic payments. It's written down so that way I know to keep track of those that they're coming out. And this, I've been using this type of system for close to a year now, and it is actually working out really, really well. Next section I have tabbed is my month, and I just moved these tabs as the current month so that I have it always on the current month. This is just the big picture overview. I color code. Purple is for myself, green is for my husband, light blue is my oldest daughter, and pink is my youngest daughter. Now, my oldest daughter works, but she does not drive yet, so her work schedule actually impacts me as far as taking her to work and picking her up. We do live close enough that she can walk if she needs to, but it's just a convenience for her if we can take her. Now, the next section is my week. So this is the first week that I use this. I have used a cousin before, so I know that I do not want to use a bunch of stickers in this section because it will really bulk it up. And I tend to not decorate. I'm pretty much bare bones, just write list. I also do not use this as a timed portion. I have timed events, but I do not use the time section that runs down the sides. I will usually just list the major events that are happening up at the top. In this case, the very top is my oldest daughter's schedule. And then I note what time I get up. I try to track my sleep because I have a hard time sleeping sometimes. And then I also note after I've done up my actual work schedule, I have a little bit of leeway what time I start. So I just note what time I start and what time I leave. Then I list tasks, errands. Over on this side is my weekly tasks. Down here in the corner is my roles and goals. Again, taking that off of the Franklin Covey. I've got my weekly scripture reading. Here for the meal planning, I just note down what we're having, but I do use those flags. I took them off for this, so it'd be easier to see. And I just put those across here, and once we've actually had the meals, then I write them in. I track the weather after the fact. I don't track it ahead of time because I can get that off of my phone, but I just like to keep a list of what the weather is. And then I think that's it. I do have some stencils that I've ordered that'll be in today, so it'll make these flags be a little bit neater. And, oh, I know what I didn't mention. Down here I have a tracking section, things that I do every day. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this in. I have been using this for a long, long time, so I pretty much know what I need to get done. It's just the visual helps somewhat. And then I do online purchases, and then I always have a looking ahead so I know what's coming up. Now the today section, I do not use it necessarily as a planner. I moved the tab to the most current, and I'll show you my previous. I started on the 29th. You can see I pretty much just journal in here, but I can also use it if I need to. If I've got a bunch of things to do, I can write down my tasks. But for the most part, it's just journaling. At the beginning here of each month in the cousin, you have these blank lines where it says, remember this. I am not sure yet what I'm going to do with this. I've tossed around using it for goals, but I think what I want to use it for is just index. But we'll see. Well, I think I'll probably go through the month and then decide what I want to use it for. So this is so far what I've got on here today. I try to always put down what I'm grateful for. This is a bookmark that I made, and it sticks out at both the top and the bottom today. And then on the back side, I've just got a little post-it pad, and these are the really, really important things. So if it's something I don't want to forget, I can either leave the post-it on here or take it off and put it right on front of my planner so I don't forget. My pencil board I just made from the cover of a paper pack, so it's, you know, pretty stiff. Now what I like is the actual cardboard side is the side that I like to put underneath when I'm writing, because it's a little bit softer, if that makes sense, of a writing surface. The slick, I don't really like writing on those. And then the very back of the book here, it's got a flap, and this is just some of the important stuff. A couple of papers for my kids, my prescription, things like that. But so far, just in the little bit of time that I've been in here, I am really happy with it. I think I can make this work. So again, to recap my one book July, yes, this, I'm calling this a book. I pretty much always have the same system no matter what vessel I'm using, so it's, you know, a little bit redundant. But what I do tend to lack is when I'm using that one book, is sometimes it takes me quite a while to get the actual lists written down. So that's part of my project. And my one book is to make sure that I get all these lists written down. Then the second part of the one book, oh, and I think I forgot to mention that at the front of my little project book here is I actually did a one book July so that I always remember what I'm doing. So number one is to completely finish setting up and use the cousin system. Number two, my project that I'm doing is my home declutter, continuing to work on that. Once I get the decluttering done, I guess you're not even in frame, I should pay attention, sorry about that. Once I get the decluttering all done of the house, then I want to set up some sort of fly lady type system. And then my number three, my go big, is the self-improvement. I have never really dieted. I have tried. I would say right now that is the biggest one for me, because I've always been one of those that'll pretty much eat just what she wants to eat. But at just over 50 years old, I am now 23 pounds overweight because, you know, of eating that way. So I need to develop some good healthy eating habits, and decided to do the low carb and add the exercise in. So that's it. I look forward to watching everybody else's videos. I will try to post an update. I don't know if I will do a weekly update, because it's hard enough for me to find time to do a video as it is. And the other thing is I am not that technologically savvy, so it will be interesting to see how it goes as far as me uploading this video, but we'll give it a shot. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to watching everybody else's videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.